Hello, ReLIVE fans! We have a new season upon us. No, not that kind of season. A seasonal event. Yes, we have the cheerleading event. And if you've had your ears open on any of the ReLIVE channels or servers or groups, wherever you may get your news, you may have been dreading or looking forward to this, or maybe both. The first stage girl to come to us is Uesugi Kikyo, played by the amazing Tendo Maya. And she is charming. She looks great. Is she good? In other words, is she worth your gems? And when you see her in PvP, how should you react? I'll answer these questions and more in my review of Uesugi Kikyo. Now, as always, these stats, I don't know why they don't fix them, but these are not her total complete stats. Her HP is a really strong 24,000. Her act power is actually really low. Really low compared to what we're used to. She's in the low 1600s. So when it says a support stage girl, it means a support stage girl. Her physical defense is really strong and above 1200, and her special defense isn't too terrible at 670. But her speed is the real key here. It is all the way up at 1832. So she's Moon. She's a support girl. Is she the new Musketeer Mahiru? Well, maybe, but certainly her kit would need a lot more to it than Musketeer Mahiru, and it certainly does. So let's take a look at her acts and see how she can support the team. She has a Slash of Brilliance. A+ marks for that. Always love a good Slash of Brilliance. Her Blessed Rondo is pretty interesting. It's HP recovery, that's 10%, and low brilliance. So it's like a gust. Okay, so it's not going to be 30 like a typical, let's say, like Tsukasa's Cheshire will give 30, or Fanchiru will give 30 brilliance to a couple girls. So will both of the Cheshire Cats actually do that. This is like a typical gust that we're used to from like Hifumi or Captain Aru all the way back then. Marion. Even Lalafin Lupin has those kinds. So it's to the three front allies. So if they're used to being charged off of a normal gust, they get that charge. But they also get a 10% HP. It seems a little bit clunky because you think you'd want to use this late game, and perhaps that is really useful late game, but it doesn't stack. It's not per turn. It's just a 10% flat heal and gust of brilliance. So not necessarily what you'd want to get on turn one. Her last thing is Hastening Concerto, which is medium damage to all enemies, which isn't going to be too much. And agility up, 20% agility up. Now, this is key. 20% agility up is not enough to counteract a Pollux agility down. It will make you faster than anyone on the other side of the board. So if someone has a butterfly Momotaro and your Momotaro is perfect aim, well, this is a good way to make sure that your Momotaro goes first. 20% is more than 12% after all. So these are nice acts. Nothing really super strong. Blessed Rondo could come clutch in some late game situations. And let's take a look at her Climax act. High damage to all enemies. Again, so you're not going to be using Kikyo, Uesugi Kikyo for her damage. You're going to be doing it for her effects. She gives resilience and counter heal to all allies. That's pretty interesting, especially with her speed. Very good chance she'll get it off first. The problem is with both Pollux and Hifumi and Marion and all other counter healers is Momotaro's going next. Right? Or Zeus, in the case of a back meta team, is going next. And they're both slow. They actually want to be slow. They want to go after you. So she kind of plays into that and does nothing to change that fact. Her unit skill is Moonbulk. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but she certainly has to be a lot stronger, someone like Momotaro, to justify not having a mid-row unit skill. So overall, in terms of her acts and her unit skill and her auto skill, she gets a fortitude, and confusion is useful, stun a little less so. That she's not doing terribly much, and it's hard to imagine who you would be bumping off of your team for her. So when we get to the question of should you pull, I would say it's probably a good idea to pass given the next two stage girls we're going to be getting. We're going to be getting Tsukasa soon, I think maybe even tomorrow. We're going to be getting Yachio soon after that. Tsukasa is who you want to go for if you're a mid-row player, and Yachio is who you want to go if you're a back-row player. And in the case of Uesugi Kikyo, you go after her if you're a Tendo stan, and you have the you have the wherewithal to pull for her and someone else. I would not suggest scouting just because gems are such a valuable resource. But if let's say you give in, you want to get her, you absolutely want to use her. Well, her speed, as we just talked about, isn't necessarily to her benefit, so you don't want to worry about putting more speed on her. So don't worry about that with a memoir. Probably just a good idea to put something with 32 brilliance or better than that on her. So an idea for that would be like you could think of the Miku memoir just to give her extra damage. You could give her perfect aim so she can clear out and play in the late game because you're planning on using her Blessed Rondo. But you could also give her some of the really good 32 brilliance ones. There's really nothing that I would say you need to run on her because her speed is so strong. She's not necessarily so important that she hits things, so perfect aim isn't something you need to be looking for. So you can kind of go wild with your memoirs, but you definitely want her to be able to climax soon. But you'll have to try and dodge Momotaro while you're at it. So we're talking, if you have Momotaro, if you have Zeus, you definitely do not care so much if Uesugi gets through. What you do want to be aware of is that those two could possibly be banned. And by those two, I mean Momotaro and Zeus. So you have to be a little bit wary about letting someone with resilience and counter heal through, because that just sounds like a nightmare. But if your opponent is putting her out there, they are sacrificing mid-offense or mid-bulk, and that might be considered a win. So as far as whether you should ban her and the situations I would consider doing that, I would put her in the highly unlikely case. If you have any questions, as always, please leave a comment, hit like, hit subscribe if you like this content. If you don't like the content, you also know what to do. Tell your friends, tell your family. I love you. Thanks so much for joining me. Good luck in your reviews. Good luck in your polls. I will see you later.